Okay, we're all back. Good morning again. And this morning it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Dennis O'Donnell. And I've known him a long time. When I'm up at doing ministry service at Harmony Grove, I would have him do the help with the healing or messages. And we go way back and through Reverend Millie's things and just a wonderful journey here. And we're so glad that Dennis is here to speak with us today. He's been chasing spirit most of his life, sharing spirit most of his life, yes, and found and settled into practicing the religion of spiritualism over 30 years. He delights in sharing the optimism and reassurance that living a life of spirit brings. Let's welcome warmly, please, Dennis O'Donnell.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for that wonderful meditation. Peaceful. And Reverend Deb, thanks for having me. And Spencer, President of First Christian Spiritualist Church. Okay, I'm going to start with a song that I wrote. That'll be a good lead-in to my talk. I don't do this song very often, but we'll see how it goes. I've learned to double check my math. I don't risk, take a chance. I'll measure twice, then make the cut. For intellect is all I trust. The yin, the yang, and the paradox ties up my soul. I just don't know which came first, the head or the heart. The man, the woman, where did it all start? Entwined together, the east and the west. I'll keep it simple, just give it a rest. The mysteries confuse me, the answers elude me. When dissident feelings cloud the right from the wrong. Some here are have-nots, some have got it all. Some are just fakers before a great fall. I've learned to double check my math. I do not like to take a chance. I'll measure twice, then make the cut. The hard facts are all I trust. I don't know the answer to life's give and take. Yes, a child will cry for misery's sake. I fear the days I forget to pray, and I wish I'd had the good sense to play. I've learned to double check my math. I don't like risk or taking chance. I'll drop it for now and give it a rest. I'll measure twice and hope for the best. I'll measure twice and hope for the best. How do you guys like that? Now, it doesn't necessarily sound like the most uplifting and confident song, and it's not. But it gives me a nice little lead in. I think I titled this song on Facebook something like "How to Float Your Boat on the Ocean of Cosmic Vibrational Ocean." And I think I'll talk about that a little bit in here. If you listen, I don't really talk exactly like linear. I kind of float around. So if you don't know what's going on, it's kind of like a deck of cards, and hopefully when I'm all done, it'll kind of make sense. Okay. So the song, it kind of speaks about the challenges of making sense of the world, making sense of life, and how to navigate life comfortably. Kind of how to be safe and thrive in a crazy world, a world of duality, a world where it seems like God created a whole lot of paradox and things that you think should work this way. All of a sudden, you find no, it doesn't do that. You're kind of almost kind of a little off balance. You start off with, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. How do you make sense of this? How do you make sense of the other half of duality? The communication is different. The whole world view and perspective is different. Right brain, left brain. Some people operate out of their right brain. Some people, are more artisty and more poetic and nonlinear. Some people are more factual. They're more analytical. And sometimes those two folks trying to work together and communicate and understand each other can have a little bit of challenge. Both perspectives are correct. Both perspectives are right. I sometimes think, and I struggle with this, and not to get into it, but I'm sure that in God's view, Democrats are right, Republicans are right. They're both. But anyway, how do you reconcile some of life? That's the challenge. You've got termite walks into a bar and says, "Is the bartender here?" So some people laugh, and some of you are kind of still sitting there, kind of wondering, what are you saying? I don't get it. That's an example of it. That's a right brain joke. And if you're kind of left brain, you might not get it right away. Great little story about father's leaving the house with his little boy, and he looks down and he says, you've got your shoes on the wrong feet. And he says, well, these are the only feet I've got. and Dad just kind of said, I can't argue with that, and I'm not even gonna. You're right. You're exactly right. So, there's a lot of fun to it, but yeah, it's a little bit of a crazy thing. God's got it set up so that the mind itself, if we're all kind of perceiving something, we see it different from different angles. If there's something that really is upsetting and scary to us, psychology tells us that we've got an ability to just put up a wall of denial, completely, submerge that reality as if it doesn't exist. I don't know. And you truly, in your brain and your heart and your reality, it doesn't exist. Everybody else can see it plain as day. But the brain has that subconscious element, makes it challenging. So it's hard to kind of, be in control in that kind of. It's even hard to kind of keep your sea legs. So the little song actually is about, hey, all this business about trying to make sense of it all and figure it out and, work with the gray areas. It's like too much. Just give me the facts. I want to just know, is it right? Is it wrong? And, going through life is so much easier. I don't have to work so hard. When I know all the answers and this is the truth, life is easy, isn't it? So that's kind of what some people do and kind of what mankind has done. So it's a crazy world. How do we float our boat in this world of paradox, world of duality, world of different perceptions at different times from different angles? The same truth is different. So how do we navigate? How do we keep up? I got to turn on my little timer. Okay. How do we keep balanced and afloat and confident? you guys know about crazy wisdom and cosmic clowns, and Indians, have this group of folks they call Heyoka. They're kind of clowns and they do things backwards. Or the court jester, oftentimes, is one that is able to kind of like take a perspective and point out the silliness of it, or point out the craziness of it, point out the unworkability of it in a certain situation. Usually a king in his court had a crazy wisdom, a clown person that would actually balance them out and keep them able to kind of see things from different perspectives. I love crazy clowns. Okay, so I want to change a little bit here and talk about once upon a time, there was a planet with a bunch of people on it, and somehow they got the idea that life was difficult and scary, and nature was doing things to them that was, threatening their very survival. The crops didn't grow because the rain didn't come. God needed to be appeased, and he needed to be appealed to, and he was kind of a scary God, Adam, what did you do? You just want to keep your head down, kind of do your work and hope that nobody notices you. But in order to kind of feel like there was a little bit of control and that, man had some hope, they'd find ways to, appeal to God, appease God, hope to do something to win God's favor. So if we were living back then, of course, we were coming to church today, we would have stopped outside and bought a couple of white virgin doves or a sheep, a perfect unblemished sheep, virgin sheep. And we would have come into our temple and given it to the priest, and then he would have killed it. For some reason, people got the idea that God will like us better if we kill things. And this went on. I mean, this was just taken for granted as the natural course and the way to make God, because God's kind of scary and we don't know, but yeah, when we get nervous, we kill things. Okay. So I'm so thankful for Jesus. He came to the planet, he walked around, and he kind of let the secret be known that he was the incarnation of God, that the spirit and wisdom and power of the cosmic creator was part and parcel with him here in the physical world. And he did all these things to kind of prove that. And then he said something to everybody that really blew their minds. He says, these and greater things you can do because you've got the incarnation in you too. You've got access to what we'd like to call today the universal field. We're not just limited to the physical, and the beautiful thing about this is God loves us, and God is benevolent, and God will support us. And God's not this mean, capricious person who's out to kill you. In fact, I'll go ahead and die, and you'll see that life goes on. You don't die. Here, I'll show you. And he did. So everybody, of course, is looking at this and like, oh yeah, we're God and you're God and you. Of course, mankind being mankind, the first thing they did was kill him. But man gets along. So he said, reminds me of a story I heard once about an Irish guy. He was kind of guilty, Irish guy, and he's being told by somebody that he should pray to God. Troubles. Pray to God. Pray to God. He'll know where I am. This is the kind of trepidation that some people, even still today, have, sadly. So Jesus came and he told us that God allows access to his kingdom, and the provisions and the richness and the riches of this universal field, they're accessible to you, and that you can learn to grow a Christ consciousness that will allow you to access and work with, co-create with God. You'll get an idea of what God would like you to do. You'll get grace and power and assistance from God and all of his ministering angels, all the beings in the universe that exist. God's got a whole army of people that help. But Jesus says, God's not holding you responsible. You're not guilty. I'm not going to kill you. And this is an entirely new story. A loving God. Now this is a God you can begin to trust. This is a God you can actually begin to work with. Somebody that... So, let me jump here a little bit. I want to talk about the universal field. So this Christ consciousness, this kingdom of God that he alludes to. You know how on the earth plane we have the ocean and we have water. And normally you walk out on water, and it was only Jesus that was able to kind of demonstrate this, although I guess we can all do it. But if you have a boat, if you have an object with the right shape and the hull is just right, it'll float. You can be on the boat and it defies gravity. You don't sink. You can go around. You can navigate. You can be comfortable on that ocean. And I lived by the airport. My father was a pilot. I wonder how they keep those big planes in the air. Apparently, it's a wing, and it's the shape of the wing. This is the theory of flight. Nobody really knows, but the wing's got a little hump on the top. It's flat on the bottom. The wind on the bottom goes by really fast. The atoms on the top, they hit the little bumps, so they slow down. It creates a vacuum, and it just sucks the wings up in the air, sucks the airplane up, and as long as it's going, it's the shape that allows it to function in that. So I think about this, universal field, and we think, there's vibrational energies out there. Some of the vibrational energies, we can manufacture and send out ourselves. There's other energies out there that come from who knows where. I don't know, the astrological influences and everything. I don't know where, but there's an ocean with currents and waves. And I wonder, what is the shape that we need to create to get comfortable on that? Think about that. Okay. The way Jesus says we can do this, I'm going to rip through this, but you all know this stuff. I do a lot of yoga. There's 3 minds. There's the subconscious mind that we really don't know much about. Can't do too much about it. It's there. There is the rational mind that we use to function on the earth. It's basically got 2 parts. It's got the negative mind. Count all the numbers, do all the analytical part, think about it, is it right or wrong? Am I going to have enough? Can I make it through till the end of the month? How am I going to pay for the kids' college education? Are those people treating me right? All this judgment stuff that goes on. And basically what it adds up to is wandering around paranoid with a lot of fear, a lot of distrust of the universe, a lot of closed heart. Now there's a positive mind that we have. Great. And there's a spot for that negative mind too. When you need to do the analysis and know how to get along in the world, there's a spot. We need it. Positive mind. It's where we kind of think about all our desires and our wishes, and kind of like, you're looking for possibilities that you can go ahead and take advantage of in order to kind of have the experience that you'd like. A lot of a lot of fantasies going on there too. Sometimes to the farthest extreme, delusion. Sometimes you'll see people that wander around. They got this idea that they just need to think positive all the time and be bubbly and light and just think and they're a little bit funny. I'll just say that. And those people that are negative all the time, they're no fun either. But there's another mind called the neutral mind. And a lot of people don't know about the neutral mind. The neutral mind is the place where if you do mindfulness meditation or other meditations, you get there. You can get there with a little bit of practice. It's the spot where you go, like we did in our meditation today, to the still small voice place within. Jesus says it's within. So that place is where it's not a place of duality, it's a place of singularity, of oneness, of solid, of support, of comfort. It's a place of spaciousness. It's a place of awareness of what's going on. And you can kind of see and perceive it all on many levels. You watch it come, you watch it go. You're still at peace no matter what. This place is where it's the portal to the universal field. And once we get there, that's where I'm wondering what the shape is so we could really go on the universal field. I want to ride that ocean right off to the very end and see that wave that's expanding through the universe where there isn't any universe yet. The expanding universe must be expanding into something. I want to know what's in the end. This neutral mind is something that I found out when I'm doing readings and working with spirit. I'm almost done, I'll be out of here. The neutral mind is the space where when you come in from the world and you've been driving and you got work and if you can train yourself, or we do train ourselves, we all have a way of doing this, and I'm talking to the choir here. Sit down and drop it and empty it and become an empty vessel and let it all go and reestablish ourselves in that God place of certainty, of security, of strength and awareness. And then, for me, I'm able to kind of like, okay, my mind's clear enough, I can kind of ask God or the angels for, a reading, an image of what I'm supposed to get, some kind of, that's how I do it anyway. There is a yogic technique that I learned also, that in a minute or two, it's a breathing technique with a mudra. I'd love to teach it to you someday. In a minute or two, it just takes you from the world plane up into that place of awareness, of spaciousness, and in no time at all, you are there. I like things that work fast. A couple of minutes and you're in touch with the universe. How can you beat that? Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Oh, that little sheet that you just received. One of my favorite crazy wisdom people, Charlie Chaplin. And on that sheet, there's a whole bunch of discussions that he made, or little comments that he's made about living in neutral mind and how wonderful it makes life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
I want to see the mudra.
Oh, the mudra.
Yeah.
Want to do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.